Support robotnation #1 comic book on the crowdfunding site Kickstarter. A 44-page sci-fi horror comic book for mature readers from New Zealand.
So yes, Ross, Mr. Ross in the chat is a Kiwi caricature artist and animator, and he did this for me this past weekend. Over on Saturday, we went to this thing, Armageddon Wintergeddon. Are you getting it? Are you going to go? Are you going to there we go. 2024 Winter show at Armageddon in Auckland. So I sat down for half an hour with him, and he drew this live, and he used them. I'm not sure if there's pencil under here, but I didn't see him pick up any pencil, so this is ink.
That's cool.
And yeah, I love this. This is really cool. Really good. I've got to frame it. Just haven't had time, but thank you for joining us. I've got my good friend, and I say good friend because he's the first one that came up and went, hey, look, I like to support you, and did a pin up out of the blue for Robot Nation, which we're going to talk about later. But I'm going to get Christian to talk about his work. He's got a Kickstarter coming up as well, and as you guys know, we're all about supporting indie creators because we are one here. And doesn't matter where you are in the world, doesn't matter what you're creating, music, movies, documentaries, artworks, murals, comic books, of course, and writing. So if you have an indie project, hit us up, and we'll get you on board because we want to support that. Now, I'm going to put Christian on solo so that he can introduce himself to people who may not know him, but we've talked this is more a relaxed one today, not a full-on interview type thing, because we already know what Christian's like. You got that interview later on. So take it away, Christian.
Hey, all right. My name is Christian Zaffo. I am the creator of the Chosen One universe. I have an upcoming campaign starting in July, on July 13th. It'll be one of my main two characters. His name is ADDAX. It's going to be called ADDAX Unbound Fury. It's a 3-part story. Well, hopefully it'll be a 3-part story. And it takes place directly after my last campaign, which was basically, there it is right there. That's the sign-up page. It's all set. If you're interested, head on over there, sign up. No obligation for anything yet. So I had a campaign that I just finished fulfilling a couple of weeks back. Took a while to do, but it was a big all or nothing kind of out of the gate. My whole universe all at once. I called it the Big Bang moment because that's basically what it was. All short stories of all the characters I intend to create and write and develop in this universe. And this is the first story arc coming out of that. And it'll be, like I said, it's just launching in July, and it focuses around ADDAX, who is a superpowered person, but he wasn't born with it. He is a government experiment gone rogue. The evil government organization that's trying to take over the world. And he's basically just an experiment, really. If you're familiar with what they did with Captain America's super soldier serum, it's similar to that in ways, but it's definitely unique. In the picture you see there, that's another character you'll be introduced to for the first time in this story. Fully, I think you see her in the last page of the last campaign. Similar powers to him, and is going to pose some big problems for our hero here. But basically, what it is he's looking to dismantle this organization that took advantage of him when he was down on his luck and turned him into this creation. This is some of the covers. That's the cover right there for the number 0 that was in the last campaign. And so he was a highly decorated military man with a wife and kid, and he retired at the age of 30 from the military to spend more time with his family. And shortly after doing so, his wife was killed horrifically in a car accident. He got hit by a truck. And he basically went into a downward spiral from there. Turned out that he tried to look for the answers at the bottom of bottle, you know, and his daughter is left to take care of him. And one day, the guys in the black suits show up and offer him a deal and promise to take care of his daughter and him if he says yes to it. And, you know, sometime later, ADDAX was born. And can't really go into it too much more than that without spoiling it. But needless to say, he's basically on a mission now of vengeance, and he won't stop until he dismantles this entire agency and anyone that they sponsor or supports them. And he has the help of 2 ex-military friends of his that basically act as his his ops team. And this is the first page of the last of issue 0. You see him taking out some of these guys. But yeah, so this is it's I want to do all my characters in 3 issue story arcs, going from one to the next, and rather than so much doing cameos or crossovers, my plan is to have things that happen around them during the course of the story that are going to be tying the universe together. You'll understand them either as you're reading it, or later on you'll reflect back and be like, oh, I saw that happen in that issue of the other story arc. That way I'm not trying to put out 3 different books at the same time to keep it all in continuity and connected. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to this. I'm really excited about the story, the art and the teams. You know, I do all the art and the writing myself. I did the lettering. As of right now, I'll be doing the lettering moving forward until I decide to get someone else for that. But I have a great team of colorists, and there's been some really great people doing variant covers I had some really great ones on the first campaign, and I have some really nice ones on this one as well. That picture you actually see is one of the covers on the sign up page, and that's by Vic Medina, who I think just did a fabulous job with them. I mean, you know, he nailed it first time out of the gate. And yeah, that right there. And in the previous one, I had the 2 guys I sought out right away are guys that had inspired me since I was younger. When I was getting into the business around the same time they were getting their names, Bart Sears and Andy Smith, and I have a cover from both of them on that campaign. So that was such a great thrill to be able to have them on there. And I don't know what else there is. I mean, you can see right there a little bit of my bio. I did an in-depth bio add on to the campaign, the last campaign. There's also going to be there's the 2 covers, Bart Sears and Andy Smith. Bart's on the right, Andy on the left. This first campaign, I'm going to put together a trade paperback, like perfect bound soft cover, as a catch-up tier on this new campaign for all those that have missed it that might want to go back and get it. Also, some of the prints that I offered, I'll probably be reoffering them again in the campaign only. What else? I don't know. I think that's all I have right now for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna like, you know, ask you a bit more questions about that as we go on.
Oh, no problem.
So how's things been, man? Like, I mean, like, it's been like maybe, I don't know, maybe 8 months since we last chatted.
Yeah.
On here.
Last time we talked, I was really anxious to get everything done and out. I had to wait a while. It was my first time doing any of this, especially by yourself, and you know, with crowdfunding, you're your own publisher, and you have to try and find people that can help you get through all the tough spots. So I had a lot of good people helping me, and they were patient with me, and it took a while, longer than I thought, longer than I expected. I started getting a little antsy because I had this one was already drawn. I was already getting colorists for it lined up, and to keep the momentum going, like I told you, I'm about halfway through the next book after this one, as far as the pencil line artwork is concerned. And yeah, I just, I'm really feeling this story specifically because this is probably one of the stories I've had the longest. I started creating these back when I was in high school, early college. So this character, they've seen a lot of changes over the years, but they've been with me for a long time. So I kind of know, like they kind of write themselves now in my head, But yeah, so I'm really anxious to get this out. I'm excited with where this is going to end up and what it's going to open up as far as the stories afterwards. Because, you look at this, like one of my things is I was a 90s kid in the sense that was my informative years with comics. I was born in 75, but the 90s was where I was all about the comics of the 90s. And I feel there was a great energy and everything was new and whatever. So I kind of wanted to recapture that feeling in my characters and in my stories. And one of the things is though that like, so even though you have, people at first glance might be like, oh, superheroes, superheroes are a little tired, played out, whatever. There is, and again, I can't really give too much about it away, otherwise it'll start opening up the story. But you will find out as soon as you read the first, like if you already have it, or if you go and get the catch up tier and you read the first short stories of all the characters, you can kind of feel out where certain things are going to go or where they could potentially go. It's not your straightforward superheroes. There's a lot of, I have steampunk in there. I have, what else? I have sci-fi, I have fantasy, like, it's like a future fantasy. So it's reminiscent of Dungeons and Dragons, but they have some futuristic stuff in there. Are you familiar with the old TV show Fringe that was out?
Yeah.
The alternate reality.
Yeah, I love that one.
I have a story that has that kind of feel to it. And it's done monochromatically, the color, to give it that older rustic feel. So I like to advertise it as there's a little bit for everybody out there, because I feel if you got to have a like for something in one of those types of genres. But the thing I try to do when I create them all, and when I picked out, because I have characters that'll never see the light of day because they just don't fit into the universe I'm creating. But the stories I picked to eventually develop now, I feel can eventually all link together in a way that you might not see coming. There's a backup story in this three issue arc that I'm starting with this next Kickstarter. It's only 6 pages per issue, so you'll have 18 pages of story when all is said and done. But it gives you insight to a character that it's almost like the great grandparent of somebody. You know what I'm saying? And you'll find that out later on.
See, with these 3 stories, right? And you're releasing them as a set first, and so people aren't having to wait for like I'm doing with robotnation. So you're not like waiting for a couple months down the road or whatever, a year to get the next issue.
No, they will. They will. I'm sorry. It is coming out one at a time. You'll be able to get the back. Each one will come with a catch-up tier where you can pick up the ones prior to.
Sure.
But I'm doing it.
So how are you? So this is my confusion. So you're releasing one book, and then you've got all 3 already created, though, right? Is that what you're saying?
I'm creating the one after this right now.
Okay.
I'm drawing now. So I'm about a book and a half ahead.
So once this Kickstarter finishes and gets to people, so you're going to, as soon as that finishes, you're going to hit number 2 and then hit number 3? Is that
as soon as it? Yeah, I don't want to release anything before people have it in their hands. So once fulfillment is done on my end, I'll give it a couple of weeks, and then I'll launch the next one. So my hopes is this one I'll launch in July.
Yeah.
Ideally, I would like to have the next one up and running for December, for the holiday season.
Right.
So I don't want too much time to go by. I want to have this wrapped up. This 3-story arc I want to have wrapped up before summer next year.
Right. So is your number 2 already done, or has it been colored, or what stage is it at?
So this is number 1. Number 1's being colored right now.
Okay.
All right, everything is done. It's being colored right now.
Yeah.
The other one is the one after this is halfway drawn. That should be finished by, because we're almost through June. We're like 2/3 of the way through June.
Yeah.
By the time the campaign ends, before printing and fulfillment and all that stuff, but when the campaign ends, the artwork for this one will be done, and I'll be sending it out to colorists. That way, come December, I'll already be halfway through, or almost all the way through the next one. So there won't be really a weight on me to get these things done.
Okay. Now, you said you were working with other colorists on your books and stuff. So is this like, did you do that with the first one as well, with the Zero?
Yes. Yeah. I had a bunch of people help me out on the first one. I don't want to say help me out. I mean, I hired them all, but I didn't know anybody. So I sought these people out through social media. I saw their skills. They were pitching themselves, and I checked them out, and I liked what I saw. Or I saw someone else had someone do their book. Maybe it was similar to what I wanted to put out, and I looked for their colorist to see if poaching. I mean, there's not much else you can really do if you don't know anybody.
Right.
But I found some people that were really, I liked what they did. Then they did a couple of test pages, sent it to me. I liked it, and then that was it from there. And I was happy with the final project. So
with the campaign, you're running for 30 days, with this one here. So guys, if you're watching, you guys can, click on here, the links in the chat. I'll put up again so you guys can grab it. But at the moment you can basically go in, and I've got saved here, but you can basically click this here, follow, and you can find out once it launches, when it's, you get to see what's coming up and stuff as soon as it launches. This is what they call like a pre-launch stage, where it's okayed by Kickstarter, and it's sitting there, and you can leave it there for a year if you want to build up momentum or whatever following, or you can do it overnight, and it's hit and go. But like, if like Christian said, like if you're into the 90s thing, if you're into sci-fi, if you like that sort of style, not the style, if you like that sort of story, this is something really cool to check out. But do follow it, and I'm gonna make sure I get this right this time, because I had too much text in the other one. So you can basically go in and follow the link and click on it, and then what it will do is it will send you like an email, or let you know it's going to happen. And that's how Kickstarter works on these things. And so, hey, it's coming up. Check it out. And if you're interested, like I say, you've got a PDF, you got a digital version, you got all this other stuff that you're gonna do with it, right? And everything.
Yeah. So let me see. I'll just show you the hard copy stuff that came in, the printed stuff from the other one. I'm just going to change my screen for a second so you can see it.
Sure. Go here.
All right. So this is the hardcover book, and this is one of the covers. I think I had 5 different covers for this. Mm-hmm. And this one was done by Louise Thomas. And so this is hardcover. So this was the anthology portion. There's 6 short stories in this one, and the quality was, it came out really good.
Cool. Yeah. And this is one of the tiers, right?
This was one of the tiers in the. So this here will be in a combined with. Let me show you real quick. This hardcover book, which is 6 anthology with 6 short stories, is going to be combined with this book, which is the floppy comic one, which has these 2 characters. ADDAX, who's in the new campaign. He's the focal point of the new campaign. This gentleman here is Aaron. He's going to be a follow-up story arc once this one is done. It was done like a flip book. So you had on one side, you had one story.
Yeah.
Get to the middle, and then you go back to the other side, and you have the other story on the other end.
Cool. So yeah, so it's a flip book. So was it how many pages per story did you have in that?
This was 32 pages, I believe, and this was. Right. Oh no, I'm sorry. I think this was 36 pages, and this was 72 pages.
So you're looking at what, 11 pages per story, or 10 pages?
Well, this year was 15 and 16, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And then it had like, you know, an ad in it, and then it, you know, you take into account the context pages.
Sure.
So I think it was 36. It might have been 34. The actual count, unless I go through and count, I don't remember it off the top of my head. The new one's going to be 35 pages main story, 6 pages backup story, and then maybe like 2 pages with promo.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so you're going to get all this in one paper-bound version as a catch-up tier.
Yeah.
But it also includes, like I said, I put a little bit of a bio story in here with some sketches that I did about myself and how I created the universe that I'm putting out.
Right.
These are all the different stories.
Mm-hmm.
You said there's 6 different ones. And then you have, I did an ad for, this is the one that's that the upcoming campaign is for, ADDAX #1, Unbound Fury.
Right.
And so, so you would get, in the next one, these are both going to be, they're going to be comic size, so it's not going to be the oversized hardcover size anymore. And it's all going to be combined in one perfect bound trade. And that's pretty much what you'll have as a backup tier if you missed it the first time around.
Please support the RobotNation comic book on Kickstarter, a 44-page full-color sci-fi horror comic book for mature readers from New Zealand. The comic book is translated into 3 languages, English, Spanish, and Portuguese, with amazing art and variant covers from artists around the world. This first issue of RobotNation will be released as self-contained one-shot style complete books. Each issue has 2 stories. Visit Kickstarter.com and use RobotNation in the search bar.